So in terms of age gaps tonight, let's look at what is best for the guy. Okay, if the guy's 72 years old, I'm 72, know what's to prevent him from having a young woman for his long-term relationship who's 18 to 22 in the Philippines? Literally nothing. If you have looked at some of my other videos, you see that it's easy to arrange a meeting with a woman that you would be interested in and who would be interested in you and who would actually fall in love with you. Now, compare that with marrying somebody who's 35 years old when you're 72. If you marry somebody who's 35 years old when you're 72 and she has no kids, likely she has a lot of baggage. If she has kids, she's got a lot more baggage. Where is that woman going to be in 10 years? She's going to be next to a guy who's 82 and she's going through menopause. Now tell me, do you want a menopausal woman next to you in your household when you are 82? I don't think so. So it makes sense that you would want to choose a woman between 18 and 22. When you hit 82, that's when you're going to be starting to look at the possibility of needing a little bit help beyond what would be normal in your lifestyle. You're used to getting along independently and having everything taken care of. Well, if you're 82, then depending on the individual, it might get a little difficult. Well, let's say you're 92, when it's going to be very difficult. Well, that 18 to 22-year-old woman is going to be between 38 and 42. She's still going to be just before menopause. And you're probably not going to live beyond 95. So you're saved. So tell me, are you going to live the rest of your life for you? Or are you going to hear some screaming menopausal woman when you're 82 to 92 years old? You got to be kidding me. Think about what you're doing. Now, I could make a whole video on all the benefits for young women marrying an old guy. I mean, for example, first of all, I don't recommend you marry the woman. I recommend you have something that resembles a prenuptial agreement that covers your living together so she doesn't get everything that you accumulate. So you make sure that everything's separate except for this, 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 and this. All right? But once you've got all that stuff established, you just live together as man and wife. Now consider the word marry. It comes from the word M-A-R-I from the Old French that actually meant lordage, the lordship over the woman. Well, getting legally married does anything but give you lordship. It gives her lordship. That's not marriage. Now, if you're worried what's going to happen to her when you die and you're not legally married and you don't have sufficient funds to come up with anything, you can marry her right before you croak. Let's just be blunt. It's going to happen. All right? So just marry her before that happens. Every 6 months, once you get up there, every 6 months you go to the U.S. Embassy, you get that letter the Philippine government requires for you to marry her. And you go to the local authority and you get that paperwork signed so that you can get married after 10 days. And then for the next 6 months minus 10 days, you're marriageable. Then you got to go and get the letter again. You just get that every 6 months once you hit a certain age. Once you know that you're getting close to the whatever you want to call it. Nobody wants to talk about it. I come from an insurance background, so it doesn't bother me. But I know from my clients that people are somewhat superstitious, but hey, you're 90 or 72, you're going to hit 82 in 10 years. You're going to hit 92 in 20. And you don't want a menopausal wife to just yap at you and give you the worst 10 years of your life when they should be the best 10 years. And I am not kidding. I have seen at the mall, they're in these remote towns where you see this more commonly. I'll see a young woman, she couldn't be over 18 or 19, and she's with some guy who's 58. Maybe he's 70, but he's definitely bumping against 60. And she's just as delighted as she can be to be with him. And I'm not talking about gold diggers. Now, I heard an interesting video the other day. Gold digger, they're all gold diggers. It just, some of them are more like silver diggers, and some of them are just, diggers for a little bit of coins. It just depends. Don't choose one that's digging for, platinum or something that's more expensive than gold. Make sure you find a woman that's within your budget, because that's what it's about. Women expect you to be stable. Women expect you to support them, and I don't care what culture they do. It's just that in this culture it becomes more clear, because in the Philippines the economic situation is worse for the women, which is why they'll be far better off taking a gamble on an American for 20 years than taking a gamble on somebody who's earning $10 a day, not an hour, $10 a day. That's the daily wage here. So don't ever feel guilty if you are in a long-term relationship with a woman with an age gap of 47 years, 52 years. Who cares? You're going to take care of the woman. When you get near death, you marry her legally. Do you know what she gets? She can fill out within the first 2 years after you die. She can fill out a form that's called the I-360. When she fills that out, she doesn't even have to qualify in the interview. As long as she doesn't have a criminal record, she gets to go there. It's as if you're a millionaire, still living, perfect record for you, perfect record for her. They believe you're in love and they just send you. It's guaranteed as long as you sign the paperwork, as long as you're married legally. And as long as she processes that paperwork in the first 2 years. Now, I know of a specific case where the woman didn't. Now, this is very common. So over the course of the years, you would have to explain how important that is for her. Because once she's in the U.S., a full 5 years, then she can become a U.S. citizen. And another 5 years, and she qualifies for the 40 quarters that's necessary. But even if she doesn't, as long as she doesn't remarry before the age of 60, she gets the full amount of Social Security that you get. That's wealthy here. Even if you get the minimum Social Security, she's wealthy as a result of marrying you. Now let's say you want to have kids. Let's say you want to have kids with her. Then your children here, it's paid to the significant other, your long-term relationship. Let's say you want to have kids with her. Then what happens is that you write a letter that says you will support them till they're 18. Well, you're not even going to be around, so that's not a big worry. I mean, you might be around. You might be around by 90, but you're not going to have a headache with it, because if you're not legally married, you sign that letter. First of all, you get the DNA test when the baby's born. You don't need to worry that the baby's yours. And then you sign the paperwork. The U.S. Embassy gives that child, because that's your child, citizenship, and they will pay her. She'll get back pay for that child from the time that you applied to make the child a U.S. citizen. It takes about 2 years to get the first checks, but it'll be a lump sum. So let's say you're making, let's just take the even number, 2,000. Then she's going to get something around $1,000. Now that can be a problem, because she's going to have that in her pocket. So it's better to make sure you have 2 or 3 kids before you sign over that they're going to be U.S. citizens. That way, that uses that 1,000 budget enough so that she's going to feel that she still has to depend on you. Hey, this is life. If your woman doesn't depend on you, If she doesn't depend on you for sustenance, you're going to have about 70% less power to direct your life, and she's going to make it hell for you. So I highly recommend that you make sure there is an economic difference between what her life would be with you here as to what it would be like if you either left her or were divorced. You want to make sure of that. It's just a fact of life. Why is that a bad thing to talk about it? Did you know King Solomon said a wise man retains his wealth and a good woman retains her chastity? Those are the two things that are important in that relationship to keep it strong. That you have sufficient wealth and that she remains chaste. Because if she doesn't, oh man, you know what that's like. It's no good. It's no fun. That's why some men don't want to have children. Because if the wife causes them a problem, just bye. No kids involved, no nothing. It's over. That's up to you. I think people should procreate. And particularly, I believe that men who have enough wisdom, who've reached the age of 60, 70, they should continue to procreate because they're going to have good kids. They're there. They're also there. Like their father may not have been because he had to work like crazy all his life. But you'll be able to be there in the child's life. And the woman will be able to commit full time to taking care of the kids. And this is also why it's important that you really train the young woman up in the necessities for taking care of the budget. In the Philippines, the word budget means something else. It means that amount of money which you will just blow all of it. It's what is your budget for the party? Well, the budget for the party is the amount they're going to spend all of it. There's no savings involved. I don't mean anything bad to Filipinos. This is just a custom here. They love having parties. Well, it's like the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. They're going to end up having the same problems they had before you met them after you're gone if you don't sufficiently train them in these things. So if you do have kids and she's getting that money going to her, they're not going to send it to you. It's crazy. The U.S. government is set up to break up families when it comes to bureaucracy. You know that. That's what they did with welfare, and that's what they do with Social Security. And it gets even worse than that, but that doesn't affect you. It affects widows of retirees. Because remember I said 60? She's got to wait until she's 60 to remarry if she wants to get your Social Security after you're gone. Now think about that. She could live with you every day of your life from the time you married her, from age 70 to age 95. And yet, if she got married before age 60, all of that Social Security that she's due is gone. She doesn't get it. This is a really bad bureaucratic rule that's part of the Social Security system. It's a penalty for remarrying. Because why shouldn't she be able to remarry if she's 42 years old and you're gone? There's another 18 years, but she took care of you during your most dependent years of your life. Okay? Well, I hope they change that ruling in the tax code, but as of now, it's not. So you need to teach your wife these certain things. Just teach her, don't marry the guy. As long as she gets that I-360, she can go to the U.S., she can come here, she can go to any country in the world once she makes her gets her citizenship in the U.S. There's no problem with that. So just train her properly on that so that when you die, that she'll make sure she takes care of getting the U.S. citizenship. She'll go there, and if you have kids with her, she gets a beef up. She not only gets that, say, $1,100 a month because of the kids for living here, she gets another amount that's around 50. I'm basing this on 2000 Social Security. She gets another amount that's equal to very close to your Social Security. So she's getting around $3,300. All she's got to do is put on a McDonald's hat and go to work 8 hours while the kids are in school. And, she's making $60,000 a year. So there's no problem with marrying a young woman, she's going to be better in every way. Now, if you want to think that she's got to have some young men taking her to the sack for the next 20 years to be a happy woman and then not die, but then be poor because he leaves her or because he dies early, not all young men live long. For example, my wife just went in for surgery. She's only 37 years old, 34 years old, and she went in for surgery. So I've never been in for surgery except to reverse my vasectomy so I could have a lot of kids, okay? But she went in for major surgery because she had a gallbladder problem and there was no choice. So nothing's guaranteed in this life. And I'll tell you, think about it. If you had someone you were crazy about, you would want to spend the last 20 years of their life with them. And if she doesn't want to spend it with you, so what? She's a bitch. Because if you're doing everything you can to make her life wonderful, and here's the other thing, the woman that would marry you, they're not materialistic in terms of your physicality, okay? They look down deeper. They look down deeper into you. Sure, they'd like a good-looking guy, but that doesn't mean anything. So would 9 out of 10 women, and 5 out of 10 think they've got a great-looking guy, and he doesn't. He isn't. Why? Because they're looking inside him. They're different. Women are different. Women, I'm not criticizing anybody, but women are like homosexuals. Okay, homosexuals, they want a man. Okay, a man wants a man. That's a homosexual. Okay, well, women want a man, and they don't look at all. Is he a pretty man? Is he a handsome man? Is he a this or that? That's just some kind of a new thing they came up with in the United States over the last 60 years. Everything's about height, six-figure income, and six-pack abs. I'm telling you, it's not that way in the Philippines. They really look inside to your heart. They do, and don't let them walk on you once you've got the relationship going, because any woman can be destroyed by a beta man, and by that I mean a man who just agrees to every little thing they want. And this is how you're going to teach that woman so she's not going to be in poverty once you're gone. You're going to make sure that you don't give her a penny. If you're having kids with her, you don't give her a penny. She's got to take from that amount that she gets for the kids. She's got to contribute the amount back to you that the children take up, and their caretaker, that's your wife, to the part of the dwelling, that just like if you have a business, you have an office in your room, in your home, right? You get to deduct that. It's the same way. She's got to give that back to you so that whatever she's getting is reduced by that amount. And then you have that, and then you have enough so that you can give her back money for her own needs and so forth. But her own needs are totally supplied in the fact that, for example, if you've got a $500 a month rent, then $300 of that is for your 2 kids and her, and so you get $300 back. Well, $300 is plenty for her budget. You make sure that she never gets anything out of your check, because you need to make, as long as you're having kids, obviously she's going to need things out of your check. If you don't have any kids to cover that, you're going to have to make sure she's a happy woman. But the amount that Social Security gives for kids, when you consider the cost of living in this country, is, as they say, kasyang kasya, which means plenty. Okay? It's plenty for what she's going to need. My condo for a 1-bedroom here is just less than $300 a month. Okay? Food here is cheap. Ground beef is less than $3. I get some beef that's marinated, and that's less than $3 a pound. And the chicken is not cheaper. When Truman said he was going to put a chicken in every pot, he wasn't kidding, because the cost of chicken went so far down in the U.S. They can't match it in the Philippines. If you get on sale chicken in the U.S., and then the Walmart chicken is more or less the same as the chicken here, only it's bigger. All right? Probably pumped full of hormones, but it is bigger. Okay? Do I seem upset or excited or something? Doesn't matter. I'm just trying to convince you, buddy. Get an age gap relationship. Marry the one without the baggage. Meet her through Filipinos in the community that you talk with and you're kind to, and you just behave like a regular guy, which I hope you are. Otherwise, don't come here. We don't want a bunch of jerks giving America a bad name. Come here with good intentions. And then they'll see that in you, and you'll find out who the local girls that are available are, and you'll say, what about her? And they'll say, oh, you like her? And they'll help you in getting the relationship started. Just believe that you'll be successful. It's like the salesperson. There's lots and lots of bad salespeople who don't know how to sell, and so what they do is they sell you something cheap that's going to break because they don't have enough talent to tell you about the high quality product in such a way that you're going to be willing to pay for it, and then have a product that's not going to break down. Okay? It's the same with you. You want to make sure that you understand all of the good things about you. And I just named a whole slew of them. That woman gets guaranteed citizenship. You know how much that costs to buy citizenship, that gold card or whatever. It's like $1 million or something. And there's other ways they do it with certain business passports where they show they have 200,000 or some huge amount of money. But nobody here is going to have that. Your wife gets citizenship. You don't have to marry her until you're about to die, and then you marry her. If they see that you've been with a woman for 20 years, that they look at that and they say, oh yeah, it's a bona fide marriage. That's all they want to know. If you have kids, automatically it's considered a bona fide marriage, even if you were only married one day before you died. Okay? Lots of reasons for her to marry you. Lots and lots. Don't feel like an age gap marriage is a problem. I love you guys. God bless you, and I will be praying for you. Don't forget to subscribe, push a like button, put comments in there, and share the video. See you next time. Bye.